Podcast Answer Man, episode number 84. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Podcast Answer Man. Cliff Ravenscraft here. Hope you Plus members are enjoying the new format of getting short, brief, but more frequent answers to podcast questions and new media questions and reviews and all the other stuff I plan on doing. One of the things I want to cover today is a question that was recently asked over at gspn.tv/forum in the Podcast Answer Man section from our good friend Jim Bigley, actually known as Dr. Bigley now. He says, hey, while we're on the topic of WordPress themes, what are some of the plugins that you use? Now, this is a great question, and it's one that I would love to answer for you because oftentimes in the Podcast Answer Man, you probably have heard me say, I am not a fan of plugins that do more than one thing. And in fact, I hate PodPress, PowerPress, all these other presses that press together all these different plugins from different places, different sources, and try to combine them into one package. I'm not saying that those don't do a fantastic job when they're working, but I'm not a fan of combining a lot of things that you don't necessarily need. So what do I use? That's what this episode is all about. Well, first things first, let's go ahead and these are in no particular order of importance, although I might share ones that I think are definite that you should be using. The first one I'm going to discuss, however, is the WordPress database backup plugin. And the WordPress database backup plugin is great because it allows you to continually have updates made of your databases on a consistent basis. What you can do is you install the plugin, you can tell it to You can tell it to, number one, go and get the MySQL database and back it up right now. But then you can also have it automated so that it says, hey, every week or every day, I want you to make a copy and I want you to email it to me as an attachment. Yes, it will do that. It's amazing. It's great to have. And so it's something that I have running on all of my WordPress installations. Very good plugin. The next one is the Share This plugin. Now, Share This allows you to put a little tag on each and every post and page that you have on your WordPress installation. And it has a little button there, and people click on it, and it allows them to share that your post or your page with all their social networks if they want to do so. So it's a great way to get word of mouth kind of stuff and to really go viral with a lot of information on your site. And I see a lot of people use that. They'll say, oh my gosh, check that. This is awesome information here in the tech tips section over at podcastanswerman.com. They click on the share this and they post it to their Facebook and MySpace and their Twitter account, and it links everybody back to my site. It's a plugin that I would certainly suggest that you use. And what's really cool is the co-host for the Help I Got a Mac show that I do here at gspn.tv. His name's Chris Brighting, and he is one of the guys that works with Share This. So pretty awesome stuff. The next plugin that I'm going to cover is called KG Enclosure Flex. Now, it says here that KG Enclosure Flex gives you the flexibility to choose which files or which URLs or which files that you want to enclose in your RSS feed. And it also allows you to suppress all enclosures if you want. Now, WordPress is designed by default these days that if you have a link to an MP3 file in your URL to an MP3 file, it is by default supposed to automatically create a media enclosure so that'll automatically be attached in your RSS feed if somebody subscribes to it via podcatching software. Now, here's the deal. The reason why I use KG Enclosure Flex on some of my installations is because occasionally there are times when you might modify your WordPress installation in such a way, or install another plugin, or you might do something crazy with your .ht access file that all of a sudden what happens is your WordPress is no longer creating file and media enclosures by default. It's not automatically doing that. And so I recognized that was happening, and it was the biggest thing that kept me from being able to produce our Plus member only episodes or feeds for all of our shows. And then I came across KG Enclosure Flex, which allowed me to manually go in without a lot of manual labor. Basically, all I had to do is hit save on the post, and then there's a little drop down box, and everything that's in my post, it kind of goes through and finds any URLs in there, and it allows me to choose which URL in that post, if any, I want to enclose as a media enclosure. And I just drop it, use the drop down menu, pick it, and then hit publish, and then that media enclosure is all automatically made for me. So it's an extra step, but hey, it works on my Plus member only site, and it's definitely allowed me to do our Plus members, Plus member only feeds. And of course, for those of you who are listening to this, that means you as well. All right, next up is Audio Player. This is one, if you're a podcaster, I think it's you have to have it. You just should not be without it. Audio Player is a highly configurable but yet simple MP3 player for all your audio needs. You can customize the player's color scheme to match your blog theme. You can have it automatically show track information from the encoding of the ID3 tags, and there's really a whole lot more that it can do. But I love the idea of having a flash embedded MP3 player on your site so that people can listen to your podcast while they're still reading stuff on your site. It's important. Don't just have a link to your MP3 file and then all of a sudden they click on it and it goes to a place where it just plays the MP3 in the browser, but they're no longer looking at your site. You have to have that. So in Audio Player, a lot of people want the Audio Player plugin, and they go out and get this PodPress or PowerPress or whatever applications are out there, and their main desire was to have the Audio Player. Well, the truth is you don't need those things if all you really were going for is the Audio Player. And as far as the other plugins that I'm mentioning and just tossing out there, those things do a whole lot more than just Audio Player, and they do a lot of great things, but not things that I think is important. I prefer using, believe it or not, I prefer using FeedBurner for making my show iTunes compatible, and I don't mind. I like the idea of having a FeedBurner feed for my subscribers to subscribe to. I love the idea that the original feed can be changed. I can move from one domain to another and just update that original feed in FeedBurner. But that's a whole nother podcast for another time. Ask-A-Met. Ask-A-Met checks your comments against this website or web server that they have to basically help eradicate all spam comments. Now, it doesn't get 100% of them, but it does a pretty good job. And the more people who use it and mark things as spam that didn't get caught in the system, the better it becomes. And we all share the same common database. And if we all get spammed, then eventually what happens is enough people mark it spam, then all of a sudden when that bot comes around trying to leave a comment on your site, Ask-A-Met, the plugin, automatically just deems that as spam and doesn't even post it to you. Very, very cool little plugin there. Now, and the last one I have here, and I caution you on this last one, it's the WordPress Automatic Upgrade plugin. It says this allows you to automatically upgrade WordPress installation to the latest one provided by WordPress.org using the 5 steps provided on the WordPress upgrade installation instructions. Now, here's the deal. This one is something I have used in the past. I haven't used it in a long time, and here's my opinion on upgrading WordPress. I don't do it unless something's broken or unless there's something new out there that just makes me say, "Oh my gosh, I gotta have that latest version." And even then, I have a dummy account. I have lots of WordPress installations, and I have this one called Test Only. In fact, I think anybody who wants to, if you ever want to see it, it's just got tons of just junk out there. gspn.tv/test only is my test WordPress installation, and there's no telling what it's ever going to look like because it's what I always just play around with. And whenever I want to test and make sure that this WordPress automatic upgrade is working, well, I always go and use it on test only first before I use it in a live environment. So just be sure that before you use anything like a WordPress automatic upgrade, that you definitely have backed up that database and that you have backed up all the copies of all the WordPress files from your file server. And by the way, make sure that when you're downloading those files, those copies, make sure you in your FTP program are showing all hidden files, like your htaccess file and all that other stuff that might be hidden from view, because if you don't show all hidden files, it's not going to download those in your backup. All right, well, that's another episode of the Podcast Answer Man, and I'd love your feedback. Please leave a comment over at podcastanswerman.com for this episode. I'd really appreciate it, and it would show other people the value of being a Plus member. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.